I was just having a conversation with one of my friends the other day about not only accepting help, but being able to ask for it first. We're both men, and so we were kind of going back and forth because I've had to, through humility and through many experiences where something beyond me had to show me you just can't figure everything out on your own. You're not supposed to, first of all. And there's a reason why there are people in your life. And so throughout the course of my life, I've adopted a framework of it's 100% okay to ask for help. It's 100% okay to accept help. But you need to build up this courage and you need to sum up the strength to ask for help in moments where maybe you don't have it all figured out. And perhaps you just trying to figure it out alone might be more damaging. So you should just probably ask for help. And in the past, I've been the type of individual where I said, I don't need help. I will figure it out. Because to a degree, if your back is against the wall, you can figure it out. If you don't have a plan B and plan A is your only plan and you need to execute, you will figure it out by natural law. And so he's on that side where it's like, no, I'm a grown man. I'm going to figure this out no matter what. I don't need help. I shouldn't ask for help. Who am I? I got a family, for crying out loud. If I can't do this, who? And then I'm over here on the other end. And I said, well, you didn't do everything by yourself. Look at your life. You've had help up until this moment. Why now, all of a sudden, you want to just completely eliminate the possibility of someone helping you to help you achieve the desired outcome? So I kind of want to talk about that in this video. I want to talk about why it's so difficult for us to ask for help. What's the psychology behind that? Why do we resist it? Why are we opposed to it? And to a degree, why are some people welcoming? Why do they welcome it? And hopefully I can give you some context before I get into it. So I've mentioned before that when I was 18, I graduated high school and I joined the military. It was kind of my Hail Mary at life because I didn't really have a set direction, nor did I have a plan. All throughout my adolescence, my only plan was find a way to ignore, shut out, and run away from everything that was happening at the house. It was quite chaotic here at the house. And so it was either video games or drugs. At least with video games, I could zone everything out and I'll focus on the video game. If it was drugs, I'd be so freaking drugged up that I'd be asleep. So that means I could sleep through the entire night without having to wake up to screaming and fighting and all this stuff. And then I could just carry on the next day, rinse and repeat. So at 18, my shot at life was join the military. I had no idea what to do. I truly didn't. I truly thought I was going to war. That's what I thought the military was. I'm going to grab a gun, I'm going to the battlefield, and I'm dead. That's what I thought. And I was okay with it because I'm like, this is a lot better than college. Mainly because we didn't have the money for college. And I wasn't going to be putting my mother through hundreds and thousands of dollars of student debt just to do something that I don't know if I would find fulfillment in. So at that point, I just took a shot. And throughout the course of my military experience, it shaped me, not necessarily because it was the military that shaped me, but because it gave me exposure not only to people, but it gave me the greatest gift of all, which was time to think. I'm no longer being told what to think. I'm now out there in the world, and I had to figure it all out. I'm looking at the tree. I'm like, well, what is this tree? I'm going crazy. I'm looking at the grass. I'm like, what is grass? Why is it green? I've never had these questions my entire life. Well, it was due in large part to the fact that my only focus was to avoid the house. Now, 19, 20, 21, even 18, I'm trying to piece everything together. Understand myself, understand the world. So those were the building phases for me. And to a degree, even now, I'm still in the building phase. And I'd argue that you're always in the building phase, but you just get a little bit closer to the desired outcome, right? So now in my life, I'm still in my building phase, but I'm a lot closer to my desired outcome than I was at 19, than I was at 20, 21, 22, definitely 23. So I've had so many mentors across my life. And it's because I didn't know anything. And had I not met some people that gave me some frameworks that stuck with me all the years of my life, I wouldn't be the person I am now. Had I didn't have the support from some people, I don't know where I'd be. Now, there were moments where I didn't have the support that I wanted from certain people. And there were moments where I did have the support. I didn't want it from them, but it was there. And I look back and, I mean, you connect the dots in reverse, right? That's why hindsight's always 2020. It made sense. And I needed that at the time. So, I get out the military, and I've told stories about how I was working at a gym and then learned how to sell, took that skill and helped someone out with the startup. And then from there, I've had some good moments because during the startup when I didn't have any money, I had my mother. I knew that if all else failed, I had a bed to sleep on, a roof over my head, and I'd be okay. And I have time to build myself back up. And I always say this, that's the greatest gift that my mother has given me. And I'm blessed. She sacrificed her dreams so that mine can survive, so that I can keep dreaming. The greatest blessing of all wasn't the fact that she gave me food, a roof over my head, nor a bed, or unconditional love. It was truly, she sacrificed the one thing that was most precious to her, a dream for a better life, and said, I don't care. I'm going to make sure this child can keep dreaming. And that's allowed me to be here now, where I am in a better place, where I can make content for you guys and share my story and hopefully help you guys out. So I've had so much help my entire life, which is why I'm completely against the whole idea of people saying they're self-made. There's a rare percentage of people in this world that are truly self-made. Self-made means you had no one, not a helping hand, not a single push, nothing, not even a motivating factor. The only motivating factor you had was just the guts to not give up because you have nothing else. It's just pain, nothing, no one. And there are people out there that are self-made. They had nothing. They didn't have resources. They didn't have someone to help them. They were on the street. They had to sleep on the street. They had to do this. They were homeless. They were dead broke. And they built themselves from that. But I'm speaking in general because for the most part, it's really hard to say you're self-made because you've had help. I knew someone a while back who believed he was self-made, that he did everything on his own. In my head, I'm like, no, you didn't. You had your mother. Look what she did for you. You had that partner of yours. Look what she did for you. Nothing you did was self-made. Because if you didn't have this, if you didn't have your mother or your partner, who's to say you would be where you're at today? We can't call the shots, but our pride wants to say, I would have figured it out anyways. That's our pride. And it's so annoying with men, especially us, because we're prideful, egotistical, arrogant, self-absorbed creatures that run off this fire that we call pride. It's the thing that makes us feel like we have some type of worth and value in this world. Right? I mean, society predicates our value on can you provide? Can you make a lot of money? Can you protect? Are you strong? Are you this? Are you that? And this constant pressure to live up to societal norms, expectations, creates this freaking desired outcome that's so far away for a lot of us men. We feel as though we'll never be worthy, valuable, or even cherished and appreciated unless we do X, Y, and Z. Unless we're in fantastic physical shape. Unless we look like the best, unless we look like a damn model. Unless we could provide a bunch of money to take care of the family. And that's just the beginning. There's so much more. Being emotionally intelligent. Being vulnerable but not being a little crybaby. Oh no, but be vulnerable. Just don't be a crybaby, but be vulnerable with me. So you need to have a level of emotional intelligence, right? And I'm speaking purely in a partnership dynamic. From a father dynamic, I can't speak on that. From a son dynamic, I can't speak on that. From a brotherly dynamic, I can't speak on that. But there's so many expectations for men. So I'm speaking with my friend, and he's just going on and on about how He doesn't want to accept help because he'll feel less of himself. And I've been there. There are moments where I just had to prove something to myself. Strangely enough, what I realized was the thing I had to prove to myself was not am I strong enough to figure it out on my own, but do I have the courage to accept help when it's available? That takes more strength than to just figure it out, balls to the wall, purely just push your way through whatever obstacles in front of you. The courage and the strength you have to locate and sum up to just ask for help where you're almost defeated. That's courage. Because courage is not lack of fear. Courage is, despite there being fear, I'll take action. And so when we ask for help, it's courageous because we fear ridicule. We fear judgment. We fear that we're going to be viewed as weak. We fear that the world and the people that we ask for help will view us as inferior, that we're not good enough. And despite that fear, we say, right now in my life, I kind of just need it. And I'm willing to accept it. That's very humbling. Not saying that you become this dependent individual that's always depending on external sources and can't lift himself up and figure it out and be resourceful, but there are moments where it's okay to accept it. God puts people in your life for a reason. They're not just there. They're there to help. If you're humble enough to be open to receive it. Beyond that, if you have the courage to ask for it and trust that you're not going to get ridiculed because those are your people. And I'd say if you really fear that, you don't have the right people in your life. Your circle is wrong. You need to kind of change up your circle. I'd make the argument that if your circle has a bunch of people where you don't think you can ask them for help, you might need to get rid of some people. Maybe they don't belong in that inner circle. So, again, the reason we struggle asking for help is for a few reasons. There are a lot of psychological barriers. One, fear of judgment. Maybe asking for help makes you feel incompetent. All right? Well, that's the whole idea of the imposter phenomenon, which is the fear of being exposed as a fraud. I mean, even when you're capable. A great example would be, let's say at work. Employees would often avoid asking for clarification because they just fear that their peers will think they're unqualified. Their boss will be like, don't you get it already? I've come to the point where if I truly don't know what the heck is going on, I will ask. If anything, from now, how I see the world is the person that asks is more intelligent than the person that thinks they know. Because the person that asks is truly looking for clarification so that he can go off this this indoctrinated fact, this piece of evidence that, oh, okay, this is true. As opposed to the person that assumes he knows. He's going off his intelligence, per se, and this false assumption of whatever the topic may be. I respect people that ask because you're humble because you say, I don't get it. Two, I want to learn, and I'm going to learn by asking. That shows humility, courage, and it shows you just don't care about judgment because the truth is you want to learn. Who cares if people think you're stupid? Who cares if people think you're dumb? Who cares if people think you're slow? You don't because you want to know. And that to me is very impressive. So we have that, which is fear of judgment. We have this idea of being a perfectionist. I mean, perfectionists believe they should just handle everything by themselves. I mean, it stems from a need of control, and a fear of vulnerability. To a degree, I am a perfectionist in projects that I work on. And also, I'm not a perfectionist because sometimes the amount of energy that you have to allocate towards being a perfectionist can just be put towards having it be good and great and exceptional. And you can still work on different projects. Now, if on the off chance you can be a perfectionist and still work on another project and you just have extremely high standards, that's even better. I'm a fan of that, trust me. I like having high standards. I'm a perfectionist. You just have to know when to draw the line. Will this idea of being a perfectionist slow you down and hinder your growth, or is it something that's going to speed up your growth? And that's where you have to use your discernment and you have to really analyze the situation. Break it down right in front of you and say, well, okay, maybe I need to allocate times towards something else. Maybe I don't have to be a perfectionist in regards to this, right? We have societal and cultural norms, and this is really important. I mean, in Western culture, independence is glorified. And then asking for help is seen as failure and lack of self-sufficiency. Isn't that sad? That in our culture, what's seen as strength is the ability to do it all on your own, which to a degree, that's what personal power is. I'm not against that. Your personal power is how much you can get done with no help from external sources. That's how you can base your personal power. But it's become so deeply engraved in our heads and it's been taught to us that you have to figure it out on your own. No one's going to come to save you. So much so that when a good human does come and you do receive a blessing and magic does end up finding you, you're like, no, I won't take it because I'm going to figure it all out on my own. And you have to know where there are seasons that you can handle things on your own and when there are seasons where people are in your life for a reason. To help you, to shape you, to help you think outside the box, to push you, to motivate you, to inspire you. We get so consumed in that, this constant loop of I'll do it on my own. I'll figure it out. I don't need help. And perhaps it's because you never had help. And perhaps it's because you've been let down and betrayed to where you get into this framework of, I never want to ask for help. I don't want people to know I need help. But I promise you that the strength is in that. That which you fear, there's strength and courage there. Your fear of being ridiculed and judged and still saying, hey, I don't know anything about this. Can you help? Or hey, can you help me? That's where you find strength. It's called humility. Humility isn't just a slap across the face. It's you're purposely taking a knee and saying, right now, I need assistance to get up. I've been able to get up before on my own, but right now, I will take the knee. And I hope that you can be there to lift me up. That's humility. And that's a beautiful thing. So there's a lot of barriers and blockades. But the reason why it's essential is because there is a logical case for asking for help. One, you're not supposed to freaking know everything. No one succeeds alone. Behind every success story, there is a network of mentors, collaborators, and just supporters. Some of the greatest companies were not built alone. You don't scale a business alone. You don't become exceptional alone. You become exceptional with a team, with people. Lone wolves eat scraps. That's why they hunt in packs. We have this framework, it's called the interdependence model. Right? Human progress depends on specialization and collaboration. If we all try to just master everything, we'd stagnate. Asking for help, it allows you to leverage strength in yourself and in others. You're not dependent on them, but you can welcome their help because everyone's superior to you in some way. And this is how I love looking at the world. I look at the world as everyone's better than me. Because you all have a unique life experience that I haven't had. You may be better than me at singing, at writing, at reading, at speaking, at jumping. I mean, sure, you might be better at me than being depressed. Who knows? But you're better than me. Your life, I haven't felt it, I haven't seen it, I haven't lived it. So you are superior. That's the humility. And then there's a confidence that you back up, which I say, I am also superior. Well, because I spend X amount of time studying something and fully immersing and obsessing over something so that I can teach. And so to a degree, if you have not spent the amount of time and you haven't developed the amount of obsession that I've had, I also am superior. But that's how we create this equal respect amongst each other. I respect you. I hope you can give that to me too. Because just like you have a life full of stories, hardships, trials, and tribulations, so have I. But it's that duality where we use each other, not like we're transactional, but it's, I have this to give, and you have this to give. Who am I to not accept? And who are you to not accept? Please, I encourage you to take it. There's a lot of psychological benefits. I mean, you build trust and connection. When you ask for help, you just signal trust in other people's abilities, which is great. When you can trust other people's abilities, you deepen relationships and you build rapport, because it's very easy to see when there's a lack of trust. I'm gonna give you a great example. I had a friend. I had somebody who asked me to kind of set up a poster, like a real estate poster for this individual. It's like one of those frames, like a T, and then you hang a for sale sign. And so this person, I said, I got it. And this person said, this is my only sign. I trust. First, this person said, I trust you. This is my only sign, by the way. And my response was, if you trusted me, you wouldn't have to tell me this is your only sign, because you would trust me to not damage this sign. So who are you trying to convince, me or yourself? Right? And so what that did in my head was it kind of broke the relationship just like by a percentage, because I see now that that person didn't truly trust me. There was a fear. But that's what faith is. Faith is, despite the fear and the possibility of everything going wrong, I have faith and I trust that everything will go right. And so I'll behave accordingly to my trust, to my faith. Acting according to faith and trust would have been more like, okay, perfect, thank you so much. As opposed to, I trust you. This is my only sign, but I trust you. That's acting in accordance to fear. It's the possibility of everything going wrong. It's good to acknowledge the possibility of everything going wrong. I mean, life doesn't always bend to our will. But it's not good to act upon this idea that everything will go wrong. Acknowledge both. Things going right, things going wrong. When you roll the dice, you might hit and you might not hit. So acknowledge both, but act according to everything going right. Just do so. It's much better for people around you. It's much better for you. It strengthens yourself. It helps build your courage. And it shows people that you have trust and faith in them. Strangely enough, there was a study published in the Journal of Social Psychology. They found that people who ask for help are often perceived as more competent, not less. Because competence isn't, I will do everything alone. Competence is, I'm going to be logical and understand that there is a moment right now where someone may be able to do it better. And I may be able to get closer. And I may be able to get farther if I just do this, which is ask for help, which is outsource. I mean, beyond that, you enhance problem solving, right? You get fresh perspectives. Getting help introduces new ideas, solutions that you might not have considered on your own. That's why it's great to talk to people about ideas, because they'll bounce something and you're like, I didn't really think about that. And then you go off that idea and then you create more, right? It becomes this bacteria of ideas that mold and compounds and multiplies. So many groundbreaking innovations like the iPhone were the result of just cross-disciplinary collaboration. Like, hey, I got this idea, you got this idea, what about this, what about this, what about this, what about this? Boom, here's the iPhone. Right? It didn't just happen because one person said, this is it. I have the perfect put together idea. No, ideas enhance. And the resolution of an idea or an image or a concept or a goal, it enhances the more you discuss it and the more you break it down and the more you get into the details. But the only way for you to get into the details is knowing that you may overlook something. So discuss it with people you trust, at least, so that it can be brought to your attention, so that anything that you thought you would have missed, you don't miss, because now it's brought to your attention. Now, strangely enough, humans are hardwired for reciprocity. When you ask for help, people often feel good about assisting because it just reinforces their social value. Some people have the idea of karma, do good, do bad, receive bad, so they'll help on that notion. Some people will just say, well, I mean, I'm here to help. Why not? I would want some help. When you understand that you feel better when you help than when you give, it makes you want to help more. So when you understand that you feel good, understand it makes other people feel good. So you're doing them a favor when you are accepting the help, because you're making them feel like they are making a difference. And in this vast, great, big rock we live on, sometimes it's common for us to feel and question if we're truly making a difference. We have this idea that, yes, we are great, we're vast and powerful, but how much of a difference can I make? So when you accept help, you're not only helping yourself, you're helping the other party. You're giving them the opportunity to feel, wow, I am valuable. I am making a difference because I'm doing this for this person. So you're helping them. You're reinstating something that at one time in your life has been difficult for you. A lack of value, a perceived lack of value at least. All right? I like this framework. It's called the zone of genius. Everyone operates within their own zone of genius, areas where their skills, their knowledge, or their experiences, they thrive. When you ask for help, you tap into someone else's expertise while you focus on your own strengths. So, for example, let's say I'm mediocre at speaking and I want to write. I can start to try to write and learn how to write and be an under average performing writer. Or I can outsource somebody that has written for years to give me their insights. And I combine that with my speech and I create this almost perfect result as opposed to me doing everything on my own. A great example is, let's say you're an entrepreneur and you're struggling with finances. Hey, hiring an accountant frees you to focus on what you do best, which is creating, innovating, leading. I mean, that's why founders and CEOs delegate tasks to people that specialize in it. They don't know everything about videography. They don't know everything about content. They have a media crew who studies content, who studies the analytics, the numbers. They have a camera guy, a videographer, a photographer that knows this, that knows what lighting is. And they have a finance person that knows this and this and this. They don't do everything on their own. They learn enough to hold themselves above water so that they don't freaking drown until their whole body's above water. And they're like, okay, I have been able to get thus far on my own with that much knowledge. Now, what I need to do is I need to find someone to just get me on the ship. Let's hire this, that's the whole idea of recruiting talent. You scale businesses by building a team and by recruiting talent. People that you trust, that you can entrust, that you can delegate a lot of tasks to because they just do it better. Find people that do it better. There's another one called the cognitive load theory, which is our brains can only handle so much information at once, right? When we're bombarded with a lot of options, this creates a sense of stagnation because we don't know which option to choose. So we're stuck. When we are sad, it's because we think there are no options. When you don't have options, you're hopeless because you're like, I can't do anything about it. There's nothing I can do. So you get sad and desolate. So when you ask for help, it reduces this cognitive load. And then you get to focus on higher priority tasks, which is great. From a strategic standpoint, it's 100% in your duty to ask for help, to free up your time to focus on the higher priority tasks. And just from a human standpoint, it's your duty to get rid of your pride and understand that unless you are part of the 0.001% who truly made it this far on their own, maybe up until this moment you haven't. And if you have, and it's all been you, nothing, no one, nowhere, no helping hand, nothing. Hey, this whole video you don't need this video. It's okay. You're a monster. But If in the case that you've had some help in your life, understand that you've already had help. So what's this opportunity? Well, what is you asking for help now gonna change? You've had help in the past. This doesn't change anything. You know how it felt. It felt good. It was a relief, and they felt good. So both parties benefit. If you want to ask for help effectively, we always start with reframing the narrative. So we shift your mindset. Instead of seeing help as a weakness, view it as a strategic decision that just accelerates your growth and gets you one step closer to the desired outcome, whatever that desired outcome is. Say to yourself, I'm not asking for help because I'm incapable. Say I'm asking because I'm capable of achieving a lot more with support. Now, you have to draw the fine line, right? Are you actually asking for help because of that? Or are you incompetent? Are you someone that's not capable? You have to know. You really got to know the difference. It's very important. Because if you are incompetent, if you cannot do it and you ask for help, you will always be dependent on external sources. But if you know that to a degree you are independent and you have a stack of evidence that you were able to do a certain amount of things on your own, asking for help now becomes a strategic anchor. You now have a lever you can push down on. It helps you, makes the other person feel like they're valuable and they're making a difference. You need to be clear about what you need, right? Let's say you are going to go to a job interview and you practiced it and you have a resume. It's good to go to someone you trust and be like, hey man, can we run this through real quick? You're helping them and getting their input to enhance your presentation or whatever it is that you're doing. You gain their perspective, their point of view. And then you can just say, well, hey, it's because your expertise could make a big difference. Acknowledge the contribution. Explain why you need help. Just so that you don't seem transactional that you're using them. But it's like, hey, I need you right now. And I'm doing it because you're this. And by the way, I value your input. Don't say I need help with this project. Say, can you help me brainstorm 3 ideas to improve the design? Your creativity always inspires me. There's always a framework shift. I mean, you could just say, I need help with this project. Can you help me? Or you could be more precise, right? Which is the whole idea of, well, hey, can you just help me brainstorm? There's something about your creativity that inspires me, and I want your input. So now the likelihood of them being more creative increases, or just as creative as you know them to be, increases. Because you just said, your creativity always inspires me. So you're kind of setting the expectation. So in their head, it's, I am going to help, and they're looking for my creativity. Time to turn on the creative juices, right? Choose the right person, man. Match a request to the person's skills or strengths. Most people are likely to help when they feel uniquely qualified to contribute. Like, oh, I can help. I am an expert in this area. I can definitely do it, right? Reciprocate, follow up. Thanking someone and offering to return the favor really strengthens that relationship. Sometimes you don't even have to return the favor. Some people just help to help. Some people are so good to where they'll just give without asking. And some people will just give and never ask. So it's not your job to make them ask. It's your job to just return. If you see a moment to help them, do so. Just do so. Don't ask, like, do you need help? They're probably going through the same thing you're going through, which is, I don't want to ask for help. All of that. So don't sit there and say, well, do you need help? Just, if you see an opportunity to help, step in. Reciprocity. Okay? So, with all that being said, don't think that asking for help is just weakness. Don't let your fear of judgment, perfectionism, or whatever the heck societal norms are steer you away from asking for help. It's something that's valuable. And again, I make the argument that you are more courageous when you ask for help as opposed to just trying to figure it out on your own. Truly, one is easier, and whichever one is easier, you're taking the easy way out. Because you will figure it out on your own. It might take longer, it might be harder, But the true courage is here because remember, courage is not lack of fear. Courage is despite fear being present, I shall act. I will go. So courage, in the sense of asking for help, is despite the possibility that people may see me as weak, judge me, ridicule me, I trust that they will simply just help and provide assistance. And that right there is courage. You got to recognize the benefits, man. I mean, problem solving gets enhanced. You strengthen relationships. You reduce the cognitive load that you put on yourself. Do it. Ask for help. See how much farther you get. Trust me. From someone who was literally the lone wolf mindset. I would figure everything out on my own. I don't need people, this and this. Time after time after time again, life slapped me across the face saying, you are not meant to figure it out all by yourself, little one. Open your eyes. That's why I placed this person in your life. That's why I placed this person in your life. That's why there's these people in your life. And without them, I would make the argument that I wouldn't be here today. So I can never say I'm self-made. Never in a million years am I ever going to open my mouth and say I'm self-made. I didn't do it alone. I've had help, a tremendous amount of help. And I've been blessed. And you have no idea the amount of growth you'll experience, how much closer you'll get to your dream outcome or your desired outcome if you are just accepting of the help. If no one's offering, find the courage to ask. For the most part, they will give. I had experiences where some people don't give. Hey, it was worth a shot. What's the worst that could happen? They say no, they don't want to help you. All right. What's the best case? They help you, you get closer to your goals, closer to your dream outcome, you learn something new, you make them feel like they're valuable, you give them the opportunity to feel like they're making an impact. Sounds good to me. I'll take that trade. I'll roll the dice on that. Ask for help, man. It's okay. I know sometimes we don't want to because we're just so prideful. But remember, pride comes before the fall. I don't just say that because I heard it or read it somewhere. I've actually experienced it. So ask for help. Humility. It'll take you far. That's all I got.